Marcellus, I'll start with you. Who do you believe more here, Bleacher Report or Aaron Rodgers?
First, let me just say, scorched earth. Aaron Rodgers is going there. He's trying to protect a lot of people, and I think he's trying to protect the history and the exchanges he had with his coaches, his teammates. But I'm with Aaron Rodgers on this one. I will say this. Aaron Rodgers is highly intelligent, savvy, slighted, and unapologetic. I've had my own issues with Aaron Rodgers, and I've seen him avoid me certain situations, and I didn't think anything about it because I know who he was, I know who he is, and I know what he felt. And when you're a person like that, walking around apologizing for things is not necessarily a part of your DNA. So in a situation where, let's say, Greg Jennings, and Greg, you misconstrued my joke. I'm not going to apologize for my joke. I'm just going to say, oh, you felt a certain type of way, let's get together, or it's a joke. And I think he's living in that hemisphere where a lot of other people are not in that same hemisphere and they feel a certain way. Aaron Rodgers is not sitting here cleaning up his mess and anything he messes up. He's a guy that says, I do what I do. I've already thought about it. I'm highly calculated, and I will go forward. And you guys deal with it the way you want to deal with it. But stop being redundant with the same thing. Stop trying to increase the volume on the same song. Like, play another track. You got another track? And from what I've seen, I don't see his fingerprints. I don't see the evidence of Aaron Rodgers at the scene all the time of all these incidents. It's a lot of circumstantial talk. And it's gotten a little dated, and I'm with Aaron Rodgers on this one. Like, if you got something new, bring it. We'll talk about it. I probably won't apologize, but I'll move forward, and I'll move forward with a different wisdom. Until we see that place, it's kind of old, dead news.
I mean, it has to be some truth in the article. Guy's not going to spend this much time on it and not be some truth to it. But this is the first time Aaron Rodgers has actually come out and kind of defended himself. And it's like, man, I had enough, man. I got to get this off my chest. I got to let y'all know where I'm coming from. Now, you look at it from this perspective. If Greg Jennings, who I respect and we work with, if you hear your quarterback tell another DB on another team, hey, y'all need to come get him because he ain't going to be here next year. If I'm a receiver, I'm like, hold up. I'm pissed off about you, the quarterback. If you want me here, you can make sure that that happens. So anything that has happened prior to that, if I'm Greg, now I'm going to closely re-examine that and look into it like, it starts to make sense. For Aaron Rodgers, it's a joke. He probably didn't even think he said. He don't even remember saying it until Greg probably brought it up. And so he's looking at it from.
Would you address it right then in the moment, though? If I'm Greg and I'm bothered, why not say, Aaron, what the hell you doing?
I would have addressed it after the game. If it's prior to the game, I'm not going to bring it up prior to the – I would address it after the game like, bro, were you serious about that? And he would have said what he said or what you talking about?
Yeah.
And we would have got it right there. But for Greg, he probably held it in and was like, oh, okay, this is probably – I realize I'm not going to be here. Greg didn't like it. I don't mind Greg saying what he said because that's how he feels. Now, Aaron Rodgers, you come out and say it's a joke. Well, once Greg said what he said a while ago about you should have just said a long time ago, Greg, I'm sorry, man, that's a joke. Or if you took it the wrong way, since he's unapologetic, I didn't mean it that way, man. It was a joke, just having fun.
But he did mean it that way. And I think, first of all, the hit dog hollers, right? You know why? Because that hit Greg somewhere where Greg was like, damn. It's one thing to be, and I've been there on the top of the hill coming down, whatever the situation. I'm not going to be in San Diego next year. Whatever the situation, and you're the man in the mirror, we have a great conversation. It's painful, but it hurts more when y'all are now ear hustling the same conversation. When TJ knows, when my coaches know, when I start hearing the whispers, when y'all don't laugh at the jokes the same, when y'all start sniping at me, that makes me feel even worse. And that's not on Aaron Rodgers to make him feel better. It's on him to feel better or play better to where there's no conversation. When Greg Jennings was getting it, say that same joke. Guess what Greg gonna say? Ha, okay.
Right, I'm gonna be here.
I'm gonna be here. What you talking about? But it's when you know there's a lot of truth in that one. That's the problem.
And again, I have a lot of respect for the Bleacher Report story. I talked about it last week, tweeted about how good I thought it was. And even saying that, because I've worked in the media and I've profiled people, I've been profiled, it's hard to get it all right. And so I think that Aaron Rodgers has a case here, and because I even when I read the article initially, and this is not a criticism of Tyler, but it's just factual how I felt. was like, are we really supposed to believe that Aaron Rodgers is so petty that he blames the offensive coordinator of the 49ers in 05 for not drafting him? When Aaron Rodgers is smart, we contend, he knows the offensive coordinator ain't making that call.
Thank you.
It's the head coach and the general manager, and it's the owner. You know, when you talk about the number one pick, a lot of voices have a say in that. 7th round, 6th round pick, yeah, the coach and the GM, y'all on your own. But the ownership has a stake in that. And so I just don't, that was hard for me to believe. And then, so I think for Aaron Rodgers, when you start a story with a misconception, it taints the rest of the story. Again, I've been profiled and been mischaracterized. And I'm a difficult person like Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to just spend my whole life explaining everything that I did. And it makes you hard to understand. And so I guess I'm glad Aaron Rodgers has done this. I will say this as we move to a little second layer. I do think there's some lessons for Aaron Rodgers to learn from all of this drama. The Bleacher Report story and just the years of his teammates and others chirping at him. There are some adjustments that I think he needs to make, but I don't see him moving that direction.
Well, I actually do. I think that him being highly calculated, he's going to suppress more. I think that you're going to see a guy who's going to move different. And I think he has moved differently over the years as teammate after teammate starts to take their little snipes, and he starts to realize, okay, I'm not going to be the same leader I could have been. So what does that mean? In certain situations, he doesn't overextend himself. People got to be calculated and understand what we're talking about. When Ty Montgomery fumbles that ball, everyone says if Aaron Rodgers would have hugged him and said it's okay, everything would have been fine. But Aaron Rodgers has now been in a vulnerable position where he's like, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. If I'm a great leader by just hugging a guy and saying it's okay, but it's not okay. Then he goes to his kicker, Crosby, when he misses all his field goals, and he's like, hey, man, everything's okay. That's what we're seeing right now. Aaron Rodgers is not knowing exactly how to move because it's not how he wants to move. He lives in a different atmosphere where we're playing sports. Suck it up. It's a joke. Why are you mad? I don't agree with this play. This is a dumb call. I actually like teammates like that because they're expressing their truth. But everybody can't handle the truth. People always say, tell your truth. But then they also say the truth hurts. Well, then, damn, which way is it going to go? So for Aaron Rodgers, he's a little callous right now. He's moving differently because he can't really express who he really is.
So the narrative on Aaron Rodgers can change. He's had Mike McCarthy as his coach his entire NFL career. Now you have these new coaches coming in. They've read this story. They hear what we're talking about. They see all of this. Now, Matt LaFleur and his coaching staff gets in there. They can now change how Aaron Rodgers is viewed by the media, by the people in the NFL. And, he's not the guy that everybody made him out to be. If he goes in there with a different attitude and says, okay, I'm going to change the narrative of how people see me, he's not going to be the one that can get that story out there. It's going to be the others, these coaches, these new teammates, and say, he's nothing like this.
But I do believe it starts with Aaron Rodgers because I'm telling you, I'm sitting here today feeling like I've been a person that's been mischaracterized. But I had to dig really deep and ask, why? Why me? And some of it is on me. And there are things that I had to change. I couldn't wait for some executive to change them for me. I had to make some changes, and I'm a little bit fear. And again, I like the fact that he pushed back, but I don't like the fact that given that Mike McCarthy was just fired, given a story like this doesn't come from out of nowhere. He knew it was coming. And to me, when Matt LaFleur gets that job, I make damn sure I get with him face to face as soon as possible.
Right away.
Yeah, but here's the problem. All right, one, you're in a different field. You're not in the meritocracy of sports.
Great point.
I've been
Great point.
In sports, it's like, dude, I don't care how you really feel.
All subjective.
How many sacks I get? All right, shut your trap, right? Here's a relationship business to a larger degree. So Aaron Rodgers is now caught once again. Do I get into this production of persona, which means as soon as the new coach is hired, hey, I'm in your office, here's your apple, how you doing? Or I'm like, I'm gonna be me. And what happens is I'm gonna blame the media more, the journalism, protections of journalism more than Aaron Rodgers. Here's the reason. We know people lie. We know people exaggerate. We know people clout chase. We know people can't let stuff go. And then who are the writers? Who are the media personalities? People. And when that translates into work, all of a sudden, we don't keep that in mind when we're reading these pieces. Like maybe somebody just didn't let it go. Maybe somebody is exaggerating. Maybe somebody got a kernel and turned it into a mountain. Like all those elements need to be kept in mind when we're reading these articles. If not,
That's what he's saying. That's exactly what Aaron Rodgers said.
he's like, y'all blowing this out of proportion. Yeah, I did some things, but I'm not gonna apologize for my joke. I wouldn't apologize for a joke either. I'm not gonna lie. I've heard much worse about me, and I've said much worse.
I've apologized.
Oh, I've apologized, but for a joke?
I've had to, because I got a nasty sense
Okay,
of
you
humor.
go
I've
there.
had to apologize.
For that joke? I love Greg, but that joke meant Greg was
But
hurting.
see, that there was other things that led up to that.
Had to.
That Greg, when he heard that, he was like, okay, this is where we going now.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't the only thing. It had to have been more.
All right.